E allora, ciao, buongiorno or buonasera. In this video I'm gonna talk about one of the symbols of Palermo, the Fountain of Shame, known throughout history as the monument that pissed off the church, and I'll tell you why. When you're in Palermo, you can't miss this monument. It's smack dab in the middle of the city where you pass by tons of times, so you have no choice but to see it. And since you definitely see it, it's worth understanding why this attraction is so important. So, as I always say, we don't look at monuments like with the eyes of an idiot, right? So here's the two reasons why this monument is significant. The first reason why this attraction is so important is for its fascinating history. The story kicks off in Florence in the 1500s during the Renaissance time. Don Pietro da Toledo calls in the famous sculptor Francesco Camilliani and says, "Francesco, listen up, we gotta build a beautiful, majestic, beautiful fountain for my little girl, my daughter. I wanna give it to her as a gift for her villa, for her yard." Francesco goes, "Hey, Don Pietro, what is the problem? I'll get to work." Francesco gets to work and he builds a beautiful, stunning, huge fountain. When Don Pietro sees it, he's on cloud 9. Bravo, Francesco, it's really beautiful, I love it. There is one little problem. Francesco went overboard and ended up building a fountain that is 10 times bigger than it was supposed to be. Only the statues alone numbered 50. The fountain is really beautiful, but it doesn't fit into the middle. Meanwhile, Don Pietro kicks the bucket. He dies, so the problem falls into his family's lap. So they go on a meeting to figure out what to do with the fountain. Where the heck do we put this fountain? What about that? It won't fit it. What about that? It won't fit it either. Meanwhile, a senator hears about what's going on in Florence, about the mess, and he sees it as an opportunity. So he goes to the Senate and he says, "Guys, please listen up, I have some great news. These idiotic nobles in Florence made Francesco Camilliani build a beautiful fountain, but now they say that it's too big and they don't know where to put it. This is a great chance to get some cool decor for the city and show these people who is the boss." Back in the Renaissance, Italian cities were competing to overdo each other. They were playing who's got the bigger game. It wasn't about size, but about being the top dog. So Palermo makes an offer, the nobles accept it, and they send the fountain to Palermo. They install it in one of the main squares of the city, in front of Palazzo Pretorio, the seat of the government, and it soon becomes a sign of wealth and power, but also a source of shame, and I'll tell you why. This fountain has got about 50 statues of gods and goddesses with their butts and boobs all out in the open. The statues are naked, right? It's the 1574, a time when people were not exactly open-minded, especially the religious communities. Now, the fountain shares the square not just with the seat of the government, Palazzo Pretorio, but also with a monastery that has a window overlooking the fountain. Story goes that when they installed the fountain, a nun looks out the window and she freaks out. She goes, "Mamma mia, signore, perdone, what a shame on you sinners!" And since that moment, the fountain was nicknamed Fountain of Shame. This brings us to the second reason why this fountain is so important, for its beautiful architectural style. The fountain is in Renaissance style, which marked a return to the old stories from Roman and Greek times. People had grown sick and tired of the previous architectural style, which was medieval, that was all centered on religious stories, influenced by the power that the church had at that time. So in the 1500s, people and artists were like, "Alright, enough with saints, angels, and Jesus everywhere. Let's make it about humans again. We want beauty, nature, real life stuff." And so they bring back butts and boobs like in ancient Greece and Rome. And the fountain nails this idea. About 50 naked gods and goddesses telling all those old school stories. If a history professor had me explain it like this, they'd probably kick my ass until next Tuesday. It's definitely more complex, but this is the gist for us regular folks. By the way, the fountain often appears on TV shows, movies, or even fashion shows like the one that Dolce Gabbana put on a few years ago. Fun fact, Mr. Dolce is Sicilian from a little town near Palermo. That's it, check out important links in the description. Grazie mille, ciao!